Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today we're talking about mini lessons and I'm going to walk you through the process of a mini lesson, just the mini lesson, step by step. Let's get started. So the first step is getting your students to the meeting area, which can be really challenging at times. And so let's talk about, getting to the meeting area. How do you transition your students to the meeting area? A lot of teachers have a limited amount of space. So what's the point of a meeting area? The point of a meeting area is having close access to your students and having your students have access to each other. It's just, it really divides up your workshop time, so students know that mini lesson, that's when they really need to focus, because they're learning one important skill from you during that lesson, and you really need to be very straightforward about what that skill is. I let my students chat on the way to the meeting area. I have a list of materials that I want them to bring. If you want to keep it simple, don't have them bring nothing, at first, just to get away from, some distracting things that can happen. I usually have my students bring their Chromebook closed, and then I tell them you can chat on your way because everyone's going to get here at different times. And then I have a signal. I clap my hands 3 times and my students clap back twice, and then that means it's time for the mini lesson. So that may shock some people because a lot of people expect their students to come to the meeting area silently, but I feel like that, like I say up here, it puts too much stress on the teacher and the students when the class doesn't reach those rigid expectations. So make sure that you have some sort of board or like an expectation list. So this is what my board looks like. And it details, when coming to the meeting area, bring the materials listed here. And then, what do you say if someone is in your way? Like what are you supposed to do, and what's the best way to get to the meeting area? These are all important things to consider. And so I use quotes for my students here. I say, make sure you say excuse me, try to find the best way, don't walk over people, be polite. A lot of teachers assign students partners. I've done this before, and there are benefits to assigning partners, because you're in control of which writers meet and which writers are supporting each other. You're in control of the behavior. You put the kids that have a hard time focusing in front and center of you. But I actually let my students pick where they get to sit, because it's only 5 or 10 minutes they're sitting there, and it varies who they sit next to. So every day they may be sitting next to their friend, which is okay because they're more likely to actually have a good discussion with their friend. But what about the shy students who don't actually discuss with each other? You can easily, talk to your kids about, like, if I go like this, if I'm pointing or I'm, signaling to you to, include another person who might be off to the side, make sure you turn and face that person. And I try and get my students to become aware of their surroundings. Like, is there anyone around you that maybe looks like they're not participating? Try and include them. And I tell my students, if you have a hard time speaking, or you're a little shy, or you're not sure what to say, just participate by listening, by making eye contact and nodding your head. That's another way to participate. Okay, so once you've gotten your kids to the meeting area, once you've decided whether or not you're going to, have partners or not, or let them pick wherever they want to sit, then you're going to connect with your students. You want to hook them into whatever lesson it is that you're teaching. So there's a number of ways to do this. And I actually have an information unit here, my Teachers Pay Teachers store. It has the hooks for you. It has pretty much everything you need for your mini lessons, if you're interested. But so one way to hook students is by using their names. That really gets kids' attention. Using analogies, like every student has probably been to a restaurant before. So, if you're writing an informational book, a table of contents is so important. Just like a menu at a restaurant is so important. So using analogies is a really great way to hook your students. Using pop culture, talking about, Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Minecraft with your students, trying to make the connection between what skills you're teaching and the things students are interested really grabs their attention. Use your own life. Tell your students a story about from when you were a kid. They love that. These are great ways to hook your kids. Okay, so this was part 1 of the mini lesson, getting your kids to the meeting area and hooking your kids. Watch part 2, where I go into teaching and modeling the mini lesson. Please stay tuned for that. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.